Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Eliminated is the word of the day. Now, I recently did a video on this, pushed it out last week, but I wanted to do it again because this is very important information, and now it's just a different source that I'm going to source the information from, which is the Committee on Veterans Affairs from the Senate. So the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs, and wanted to dive into it for a couple different reasons. One, if you've been waiting to receive anything that you've ordered from National Archives, such as maybe you lost your DD-214 and you need that, or maybe you need your service treatment records so you could dig through them and see if you have anything that you can use as a nexus with regard to your claims, or if you haven't ordered them yet and you're thinking you need to, well, now's a good time. So let me dive into this. The headline is Veteran Service Records Requests Backlog Eliminated Following Testers' Efforts. Now, look, let's be honest. Every single senator, congressional member, all of them are all going to say, if they had anything to do with it, that it was their efforts, but really it was a joint effort, right? Now, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. It's really important that you hit the thumbs up, let the video run. It pushes this into the hands of other people. Now, let me tell you this. There are some nuggets in here that we will uncover along the way, and some gentle reminders, right? And I'm going to throw out a gentle reminder up front that if you ordered your records, right, service treatment records, DD-214, whatever, and it's been more than 8-9 months, I personally would call your congressional representative, let them know that you ordered your records and you haven't received them yet, and you know that the backlog has been eliminated, so you were just curious. Because who's to say that they did not lose your request in this debacle of a backlog of hundreds of thousands of claims or requests? So do your due diligence and make sure that they actually have your request, and then this will help you, right? Because you'll have the congressional rep, their staffer, reach out to a staffer over there who then they could talk and then they can let you know. Anyway, so if you're looking to support the channel in other ways, you can do that by becoming a member, and you can do that on the homepage. You'll see the highlighted members and a join button, and I appreciate all that support. Helps me to find you quicker in the comments. Also, have a second channel that I created with a co-host, and that is called Veterans Daily. So I'd love for you to check that out, Veterans Daily, and I'll drop a link somewhere at some point. All right, so moving on. So the backlog is eliminated at National Personnel Records Center, the kind of sub-headline here is National Personnel Records Center tackles claims backlog following chairman's push to provide veterans with timelier access to benefits. Now, let's remember that an important piece of your filing for a claim is establishing the service connection by way of nexus, right? You need to show that your condition either manifested during your time in service or as a result of your service in some way or another. And a lot of times you're going to be able to find pieces to put that story together within your service treatment records. Well, a lot of us don't have them, lost them, never received them, whatever it is. So you had to order them through National Personnel Records Center. And, back before COVID, it was taking, 3-4 months, maybe 6 months, and you would get your information. Then COVID came and they sent everybody home, and nobody was processing anything unless you were in a very dire situation. It was only for very specific situations, like you're over 80 years old, you're in a terminal situation, those types of things. They would actually process your request. So this is an important piece here. So let's dive through it, read what we have, and go from there. So the backlog of requests for military service records at the National Personnel Records Center has been eliminated following sustained efforts from Senate Veterans Affairs Committee Chairman John Tester. The NPRC, operated by the National Archives and Records Administration, stores military service records that veterans rely on to access their earned benefits. So this is exactly what I was talking about. And this includes benefits from the VA, such as healthcare, education, disability pension, disability compensation, and burial benefits. So moving on, the quotation here is, veterans need to be able to quickly access their military service records to apply for VA care and benefits that they've earned, said Tester. These men and women should never have to wait months on end to access these critical records. And I'm glad that NPRC staff worked overtime to tackle this backlog for veterans seeking their hard-earned benefits. This is a step in the right direction, and I'll keep working with my colleagues to make sure NPRC has the support it needs to deliver for veterans in a timely manner. Now, I'm going to also throw out there that it's not just veterans that order these records. It could be a surviving spouse, right, or a dependent who needs these records for some sort of benefit. For a spouse, you could be trying to establish service connection for disability, for DIC. So that is an important piece of the pie, is getting the records. So to get the dependency indemnity compensation, that would be the DIC, which pays out anywhere between $1,700 to $3,500 or more per month, is a very important benefit. Now, if the veteran never filed a claim with the VA, you as the surviving spouse can essentially file a claim for the veteran who has passed away, showing that they were service-connected for a condition, or they should have been service-connected for a condition that caused their death or was a contributing factor to death listed on the death certificate. So that's another group of folks that would be filing for these records from NPRC. Now, in addition, you could also order records for a loved one who has passed just to have his keepsake, right? So a great-grandfather, for example, maybe you have a great-grandfather that served and you want to get a copy of their records, or a grandfather, or whatever it is, and you just want to get a copy of their military records. Now, of course, it's going to be redacted. It's somewhat, but you can get a copy of their discharge paperwork, maybe some different awards that they've received, some of the other documents from their time in service, and it's kind of a nice keepsake that you could then pass down generation to generation. So those folks can also be ordering documents here as well. So moving forward, from March 2020 through March 2022, so that's the last 2 years, or 2 years in the last 4 years, so the first 2 years, the last 4 years, whatever. So 2020 to 2022, the NPRC backlog grew more than 600,000 pending requests from veterans and military service records due to issues related to COVID-19 pandemic. To tackle the backlog, NPRC worked to build its capacity to fulfill veterans' requests by implementing technology improvements, hiring additional staff, expanding its contract labor, and upgrading its building. It also worked with VA to start digitizing NPRC records. As chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee and senior member of the Senate Appropriations Committee, Tester helped secure funds that allowed the NPRC and VA to begin digitizing veterans' military service records in the PACT Act and CARES Act, the American Rescue Plan, the fiscal year 2022 federal funding bill. He also helped authorize funding for NARA to address the records backlog and roll out a plan to clear the backlog of hundreds of thousands of records requests in fiscal year 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA. Last paragraph here. Tester has been a leading advocate for tackling the NPRC records backlog since day one. In 2020, Tester sounded the alarm and urged the NPRC to provide timely service record retrievals for veterans in Montana, because that's the state that he's a senator for, and across the country amidst delays due to the pandemic. Again, they sent everybody home. Nobody was at work to actually process any of these requests. And well, when I say nobody, I mean whatever. 1 out of 10 people were there. So it's not like they got flooded with requests. It's just there was nobody there to process them because they were told not to come to work. So anyway, in March 2021, the senator additionally called on the Biden administration to prioritize addressing veteran service records requests and increase the NPRC's operating capacity, maybe sending people back to work. Tester and a bipartisan group of Senate colleagues also wrote to NARA in September of 2023 about their concerns with the ongoing delay in veterans receiving their military service records from the NPRC and asking for updates on its efforts to tackle the records backlog. So that concludes it. The bottom line is a couple different things. One, if you need your records, order your records, and that's where you do it, okay? So order your records if you need them, and you can do that with the SF 180 form. It's SF, standard form, 180 to order those records from the National Personnel Records Center if you need them. I highly suggest, if you are not 100% permanent in total and you don't have your records to go through, order them so you can flip through them. You might find something that you didn't know that you could get service connected based on complaints during your time in service. Very important. The other piece is look, if you filed a request for your records and you have not received them and it's been a while, I don't know what the time frame should be, right? To me, look, if it's been more than 6 months and it was me personally, I would call and have somebody just check on it, make sure that they have them. A little poke doesn't hurt. And I would contact either the NPRC directly, or I would contact my congressional office if I don't really get anywhere with them and have them check for me. That is what they're there for. They are there to help you with other federal organization programs, administrations, departments, whatever, right? So if you ordered them and you have not received them and it's been some time, check on it, because the backlog is cleared. You should be getting it at some point. And you want to make sure that they actually have your request. So that's important. And then thirdly is, I guess, for those that had no clue, right, about any of this stuff, is the example of the surviving spouse is an important one. Let's give an example. An example would be a Vietnam veteran. We'll say he's a he, right? So Vietnam veteran, never filed a claim with the VA, said, screw the government, screw everybody, I don't need anything, and moved on, right? So never filed a claim with the VA. Then subsequently passes away from a heart attack, right? Now has a heart attack and dies. Surviving spouse, never had any clue about the VA or anything like that because the husband never filed anything, never had the conversations. The surviving spouse would be able to file a claim for DIC. What that would look like is, okay, let's look at the death certificate. Death certificate says heart attack. Okay, well, there's a couple different avenues, and again, I'm kind of making this up as I'm going. So there's a couple different avenues. One, ischemic heart disease is a presumptive condition for Vietnam, folks, Agent Orange exposure. So if there is a history of that kind of a heart issue that contributed to the heart attack, great. If the veteran had high blood pressure, hypertension, that is also now a presumptive condition. So you would want to have those listed on the death certificate as contributing causes to death. Have it listed on there, just doubling down on your likelihood of getting it approved. On a death certificate, there's two spots: cause of death, and then there is contributing cause to death. The VA views both of those the same. You must have a service-connected condition as the cause of death, unless you've been 100% permanent in total for more than 10 years. Barring that, you need to have a service-connected condition. So this is your service-connected condition. You would get the death certificate amended, and then you would file a claim for the dependency indemnity compensation, proving that the veteran served in Vietnam and proving that the veteran had hypertension or ischemic heart disease, and those are listed on the death certificate as the contributing cause, and therefore the VA would then rule in favor of awarding dependency and indemnity compensation to the surviving spouse. Huge benefit. and often misunderstood or not even known. So hope that helps, and hope this information lands in the hands of those that need it. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.